Spoiler alert. I mean, honestly, if you listen to this podcast, spoilers.
Spoilers.
There's a really fantastic line about the Master that the 11th Doctor delivers. Imagine someone so insane they've discovered a sort of ultra sanity. That's the Master. That is how the Doctor... People of the universe, please attend carefully. The message which follows is of vital importance to you all. We present to you a case study of one of the most dangerous minds in the universe. A history of the lives and times of the renegade Time Lord known as the Master.
The Master. The Master. The Master.
Master.
Master. The Master. Call me Master.
The choice is simple. Join us and continue listening, or face total annihilation.
Listen.
They are the Master, and you will obey them.
You will obey me.
Please attend carefully. Hello and welcome to Please Attend Carefully, the Doctor Who podcast about the most magisterial of malefactors. I'm Ciarán Moffat.
I'm Amber Patrick.
And each week we bring you a chapter from the lives and times of the renegade Time Lord known universally as the Master. This week we will be looking at the 11th Doctor comic strip Year 2, which comprises the then and the now, the one and the malignant truth. It's from 2016, and it is written by Spurrier and Rob Williams, art by Simon Fraser and Warren Pleece, amongst a lot of other people. There's something like 13 issues here, and there's just a lot of different art and writing. So, Amber, can you tell us what it's about?
Sure. It's set in two different time periods, the Time War and the 11th Doctor's current point in time. And he is accused of committing genocide against the Silors, who are the gods of this race.
Yep.
He doesn't know what's happening. He certainly wouldn't do that. So this is all tied up inside the Time War with the War Doctor and his mysterious child companion.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay.
Obviously, the child companion is a version of the Master, because that's why we're all here.
Yeah, that's why we're here. Okay, let's just zip straight to that. I wonder if I was reading this at the time and if I was reading it as singles. Spoiler alert, I did actually buy them as singles. I didn't read them. I have them all bagged and boarded. And yeah, I had to buy the trades to read.
Mm-hmm. What a great way to start the episode, with a long, hard sigh. I think, look, I'm going to be honest right up top. I actively didn't enjoy these.
Yeah.
Not like at first I was like, oh, is this the worst Doctor Who media ever? And I was like, no, Story of Martha exists, so it's not. Look, he's the Master for the purpose of the podcast. We're reading it because this is an entirely new regeneration of the Master to look at. He's barely in it. He doesn't do much. But it is interesting when he's in it, and I'm directly reading it. I didn't find the parts with 11 that interesting for myself. I don't feel like this was written specifically for 11. I didn't find his voice in any of the dialogue.
I felt exactly the same way. I couldn't hear him in my head when I was reading it. It just felt like it was so generic. It could have been the 10th Doctor.
Yeah, I felt it was more the 10th Doctor as I read it than it was the 11th, but it also could have almost been any of them. It was more of a generic Doctor Who story with just whoever they wanted to draw on top.
Yeah.
The art is also... I get they have huge deadlines. They have to pump out pages, but there are some choices in the panels. There's a River Song panel that I see in my nightmares.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, look, that's not to say this is written by a couple of writers, and also it is illustrated by several different artists.
Yeah,
with varying. One style of art very much felt like they literally just got stills from the TV show and then just traced over it.
Yes, I thought that too.
It's exactly what it feels like. They've just got stills traced over it on their Cintiq and just
But again, I know the pressures and timelines that they are given
Absolutely.
for these. That they have to pump these out, and they do a good job to put together an entire graphic novel thing, of course.
It's unfortunate that this is our first graphic novel that we're looking at on the show. And we plan to do, as we've said, like every appearance of the Master in every incarnation in every media officially licensed. So, of course, we had to do this.
Yeah. And also, this is very interesting. So the context for this Master is that the War Master, Derek Jacobi's Master, seemingly dies in the war somehow and regenerates into this child version of the Master. And then something happens by the end, which we'll get to as we go through. It bumps him back to being the War Master. So this sits really weirdly in the middle of Jacobi's regeneration.
It's like a cul-de-sac regeneration. And the thing, as you will see from the spreadsheet and the way I've organized it, you'll see what I've written there, which is weird because you don't actually get that from the graphic novel. You and I had to get that from the fandom page, the immaculately put together fandom page. I'm just courting fandom here.
Although this one does have plot of book 2 to be added, plot of book 3 to be added, plot of book 4 to be added. So no one's really paying too much attention to this story.
Work for me to do.
Yeah,
as
it is.
Usual.
It is. Because this is very unfinished. It was hard to find much info about this at all.
They also build this story as like the 11th Doctor meets the War Doctor, and the War Doctor is in it for about 5% of the overall story arc.
Yeah. So the War Child and the War Doctor are actually working together. This is one of the times where the two of them have a united goal.
Yep.
They are both in the war and they are fighting it together, and they're traveling around together. Even their TARDISes, when they manage to get two together, they tether them and they, work on a unified goal.
It's shown that the Master doesn't have his TARDIS during the Time War. The War Child is the Doctor's companion. Bit of a shit companion, to be perfectly honest, because he is constantly berating the Doctor. He is constantly just bullying the Doctor about his choices. It's like, you could just kill everyone. I don't know why you're bothering to
it's one of those.
Help people.
It's this kind of was an example of be careful what you wish for, because here they are actually together doing stuff, and it's not the fun side of their relationship where they could be brilliant together.
Yeah.
The Doctor constantly says that we could travel the stars, we can be brilliant, you'd be amazing, and here they are, and they're not.
Yeah,
they're really just getting through.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like buddy road movies go, it's not great. It's not great.
So 11 has been accused of genocide.
Yeah.
We go back into the Time War and we find out that, his War Doctor regeneration is the one doing it.
Yeah, so it is a convoluted storyline. Oh, I've been accused of genocide. I can't possibly have done it. We'll go back to the Time War, and then they find out the Master's involved. Must have been the Master.
Yeah.
It absolutely must have been the Master. And then it turns out, no, it was the Doctor. And then it turns out, no, it wasn't. It was the Doctor's companion from the 11th Doctor who went back into the Time War and did it.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Having to read these issues, one a month for a year, I don't know how people kept up. I read them all in a day. I read them all yesterday. And I still have no fucking idea what's going on in the third trade. I have no idea.
Yes, they're bogged down with a lot of stuff. There's the 11th Doctor. There's his companion Alice, who's a librarian. Then there's the Squire, who's a made-up character for this.
Yep.
And then there is the return of
Absalom Dark, Dalek Killer. Sorry, I really like Absalom Dark. We'll get onto Absalom Dark.
We do. So there's 4 characters in the TARDIS, and then
Plus River.
Oh yeah, and River is in it as well. So we've got 5 main characters in the TARDIS, and then we also jump back to the Time War. Then there's also all the characters in the periphery of the planets that they're visiting. There's just a lot going on.
This is an interesting point, and I know you wanted to talk about like comics with Doctor Who and whether or not they work. I think this is a wonderful example. I think this feels very Doctor Who. It feels very classic Doctor Who in the fact that it's serialized. And so the story suffers from the fact that they have to tell it over a set number of issues in a way that each issue fits a certain number of pages. So I feel like that caused the story to suffer quite a lot. Just like the way, like The Abominable Snowmen or something like that. That is 3 episodes too long.
Yeah, I did feel like this just had so much weight on it. And it was like,
Yeah.
this could have been a really slimmed down idea. I think you could just get rid of the Squire completely.
I mean, the Squire is I don't know, is the Squire a Chekhov's gun or a Deus Ex Machina?
Both. It's Chekhov's Ex Machina.
So the Squire is a character, is a choice that they made, which sounds like a Gallifreyan title. Like they've made it sound like a Time Lord, right?
Yeah.
But it's clearly meant to be a human, and then of course it turns out to be a hideous body horror Dalek thing.
Yeah, and then Alice is the human companion who is also a librarian. And it seems like they also go to great lengths throughout the book to call her the librarian. So they're trying to give everyone
Yeah,
a
a
title,
title.
and it seems odd that she is defined as the librarian when it's like, we'll just call her Alice. Like, it's not relevant really that she is a librarian.
So obviously we're coming. This is the 11th Doctor year 2. So year 1 is where he met Alice.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there was character development there that we've obviously come in, we've missed. And so now all we get about Alice, like all we get, if you're jumping in straight here,
Which
like,
I did.
yeah, which obviously you do. And like Doctor Who is the ultimate dip-in show, as I always say. If you sit down and watch Kinder, you're not going to get huge backstory about Adric.
Mm.
I mean, obviously, now I think about it, Kinder is a terrible example because it has great character development for both Tegan and Adric. But Alice, you get nothing from her this story. Like, it doesn't seem to further her story at all. You find out that her mum died and the Doctor took her away. And this is the 11th Doctor, you have to remember, while he's on a sabbatical from Amy and Rory.
Yep.
So, like, this is young 11th Doctor in the tweed jacket.
Let's focus on the Master and the Doctor's relationship in this comic.
I suppose we should, because even though it's only a very, very small.
Yeah, I think there's still like things to say. Like, so at the start of this, they obscure that it's the Master. You don't know that's who this is. It's just a child is hanging around with the War Doctor.
Yeah, I think that was the point I was going to make. Like, if you read it issue by issue, would you have realized until the reveal, I guess?
I don't think so. I don't think it gives you anything to make you think that that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
You might get that it's a child, like Time Lord. That might be about it. We do get a great little segue where on the trail of trying to figure out who is doing this to him, 11 breaks into like a vault and finds like a computer that gives him info that the Master's TARDIS was there or is gone.
Oh, the vault he breaks into is Sharda.
Sharda!
Yes.
He breaks into the Time Lord prison planet, Sharda, which
That's
again
right.
is very odd because they make it very clear in like other media that it's impossible to get there, and like the Doctor only did it because of there are choices made in this comic. Okay?
And then we get a big, huge, full-page panel of the Suave Master, Delgado's Master, standing in front of his TARDIS, grinning. It kind of feels a bit like it's meant to throw us off the track of what's really going on, because you think, oh, it's going to be him then.
Yeah.
So they know that there's something going on with the Suave Master.
Yeah.
So they go to this planet and they find there are 2 factions of Sontarans fighting one another.
Yes. Really weird and kind of unnecessary choice to have a Sontaran suicide bomber.
Yes. One side has a Sontaran suicide bomber.
Which is really, really bad.
Yeah. And
I don't like it.
no, we also find out that the reason why there is a civil war between Sontarans happening is because the Suave Master has been here and established himself as a god to the Sontarans.
For like the one splinter group of Sontarans on this clone like growing planet.
Yeah.
And they are the troops of the apostasy of the goatee.
We have these Sontarans that all have goatees.
And their faces are kind of like flat Roger Delgado faces, but they've all got goatees. And just to show that they've all got goatees, they're all wearing plexiglass helmets. Like, you can still see they're still wearing domed helmets, but just so you can see that they've got the goatee on.
And they have sigils that they like can project to show what faction they fight for. And the Sontarans have like, the proper Sontaran one. But then this
tri-point thing.
Yeah, this faction have the
Doric column.
Yeah, his TARDIS is their sigil, like their religious symbol. It's a wild scene, and we move swiftly on. We don't hang around there long. It's like 3 pages max, and then they leave because they're like, oh, he's just been fucking around with some Sontarans.
That's right. They got there because of the Rassilonian fly thing. They go there to get these insects. They're the last pair in the
That's right.
universe.
See, do you see, listeners, what is going on in this comic? Why it's so hard to like.
Yeah, and then of course they had to give Absalom Dark his moment of humanity by letting him save these flies and release them the next place they go, which is Storm Cage to release River.
Yes. It's really just we move from location to location to location. And it's because, as you mentioned earlier, the comic book structure and release schedule demands that every issue that comes out has got to be semi-self-contained.
Yeah.
But part of a bigger narrative and to be interesting. So it's just, it has to follow this strict schedule, and it's to the detriment of the story because it's so many things are happening and you don't know what's relevant and what isn't relevant. So we do cut back occasionally to the War Child and the War Doctor. And I do really love that there are some moments where the War Child is tempting the Doctor. So like the War Child, I did love this panel and this line. He's helping the War Doctor up off the floor, and he says, "Let's go grab your little doomsday machine and be damned together, shall we?" Like,
there's some good lines.
Yeah, it's really great. There is a fun playfulness because he's a child. But you know, I don't want to get into weird anime territory. He's a child, but he's also, you know, like a really ancient Time Lord in this child's body.
They do very code it like anime-ish, don't
Yeah,
they?
it does feel a bit like that because you want to be like, these two are really great friends, but it's still a child. It's still weird. The War Child says things like he continues to call the Doctor like darling a few times in panels. And he says at one point when he's going to abandon the War Doctor, any great love affair requires a farewell note. And you just kind of want to...
I do remember that
And
line.
you just kind of want to be like, I like the Doctor and the Master as a ship. Like, that's me. I do. But this was the weirdest one because you're like, they're writing it like he's still an adult, but he isn't. He's in the body of a child. And it's fun to have the visuals of him laughing and running away from explosions and violence and having this youthful energy. But at the same time, there's still stuff that he says that you're like, it's just a bit awkward.
Yeah. Interesting choice to make him a child. And look, I agree with everything you just said because obviously someone in their head had this great idea and they did not think it through to its logical conclusion. It's an interesting choice and a bold choice to make the character a child. So that's often been hinted at. So for example, if you're a big Finish nut like me, one of the collective or the 11, the 9, whatever you want to call them, one of their earlier generations was a child. And that's talked about a bit. So obviously Time Lords can do this. It'd be nice to see it, I guess, in the show would be an interesting move. But
yeah. And as we've learned from all the regenerations, their personality never goes away. So they've always got the same... Well, sorry, their personality shifts, but them as their core as a person doesn't go away.
Yeah.
So no matter, like I've said, even though the War Child is a child, they're still an adult in every sense of the word, apart from physically. So it's odd.
Yeah, it is odd. It leaves a sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah,
we're really sorry that like this is a bit of a weird episode, but there's very little to hang on to in this story.
Yeah,
everything just sort of slips past really. Bleh.
My positives are that there are some great panels in this. And I do love the War Child as a concept, but they don't stick the landing on it.
No.
I don't think they thought it through enough. And then he's barely in it. They should have just done issues or a short run where it is the focus is on the War Child and the War Doctor.
Yeah.
Finally write the two of them working together in the war in this dynamic.
Yeah.
It's just pushed really thin across a bigger set of books, and it's a bit odd. Like, I love them tethering their TARDISes together. I love them trying to end the war together. But I don't love the weird darling talk. Like, I would love to hear the Master call the Doctor darling. Not in this dynamic.
They spend the entire thing really latching onto the whole Master thing. And also, I mean, maybe that was just me. Maybe it was the fact that I was reading it waiting for the Master. But it feels like they do very much keep going for the Master thing. The Master then has, like, it fizzles out. It's a damp squib. There's no real resolution. And I think they desperately wanted to be like, look at us, we're the comics, and we can make an entirely new regeneration of the Master that you've never seen. Like, this sort of legitimizes the comics, I guess, in a way. I want to know where fandom got the information that the War Master, Derek Jacobi, apparently regenerated into this child and then regenerated back again. I want to know where they got that information.
I think we know from previous canons, we've got to take Big Finish into canon because we believe it is canon.
Yeah.
In the Gallifrey audios, they regenerate the Master to bring him back into the war. So at that point, they bring back, and it is the War Master regeneration that we know and love. So he's there at the start of the war. These comics are set in the middle of the war, and it's not him anymore.
Yeah, okay.
So either it's a different one from a different timeline that's zipped around into the war, or it's for some reason the War Master had to regenerate and he chose to become a child in rejection of the war.
Yeah, it just seems like
And then isn't the final panel him regenerating into we see?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the art is questionable whether or not that is actually meant to be Derek Jacobi or not. I guess so. Yeah, look, I don't know. It feels like with the creation of this new regeneration, they wanted to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
They wanted to create a new regeneration of the Master, but then make it so that it never happened. And to be perfectly honest, after this is finished, it's as if none of it ever happened.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wish that was the case of me reading it. Which is, I love comics. I do love comics. I don't read Doctor Who comics anywhere near as much as I listen to the audios, but I love Doctor. I have an entire run of IDW Doctor Who comics, every single issue they made before they lost their license and it was given to Titan. Yeah, I love comics. This just, whether or not it was a good comic is not the issue. It's not good Doctor Who.
No, I don't think it's good Doctor Who either. Like I said, after the story of Martha, probably the story of Martha is a better take on Doctor Who because at least it's got, proper elements.
I love that we have a benchmark.
But this is right down there. This is down there with comics that bog down a universe so heavy that you have to give up on, like X-Men comics and Marvel comics that just wanted to make new versions of characters inside timelines. So they keep rebooting the timeline or they keep going into parallel universes, and eventually they just have to stop, kill them all off, and reboot and just go again from a fresh slate.
Well, DC does that every few years.
Yeah, they all do because they just get too heavy under the weight of all the ideas that they're trying to push on things rather than just produce streamlined content of the thing that we all love. That's my rant about comics. But
what you're saying, basically, without actually saying it, is that the one thing that is ruining media, especially nerd media, comic books, movies, things like that, what is ruining it is canon. in essence.
Yeah. This comic was so hard because I don't want to make this canon. In my own mind, this isn't canon. This doesn't exist. I'm never thinking about this again.
You're allowed to headcanon
exactly,
that.
And I headcanon this just isn't real. This doesn't need to be real. It doesn't provide anything salient enough that I would say, oh, I want this to be real. Nothing happens. We don't need this. This was so superfluous on every account. I don't think we didn't get any growth for 11 because it's barely 11. Apart from even the drawings are questionable if it's 11.
He's not even there most of the time.
It's got no other I don't care about any of these companions. Like, it's fun that what's his name?
Absalom Dark.
Yeah, it's fun that Absalom Dark is back. If you're a fan of him,
yeah,
that's
and they even missed the landing on that. To be perfectly honest, like I could probably do an entire episode on Absalom Dark. The way he's written in the original comic books, he had his own trade called Absalom Dark, Dalek Killer, and then he appeared in the Doctor Who magazine comic strip Nemesis of the Daleks. The way he is drawn in that is in a very 80s pulpy way. Mm-hmm. It's like Judge Dredd. It's hyper-violence. It's that sort of thing. As like an 8-year-old reading this comic, I probably should not have been reading it. But it's great. Everything's like, it's like that movie Heavy Metal. Like, it's that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
So the only way that they could deal with that in this comic is to make him an absolute meathead, which doesn't really ring true. Like, yeah, he's violent. Yeah, he enjoys killing Daleks, but he's not a complete rabid idiot.
Yeah.
And it felt like they took something that, like, it's when you take something out of that world. Like, he was a well-drawn adult character in the original thing. In this, he was a punchline.
Yeah.
In fact, he was literally the punchline. He's the last panel. Like, the entire thing ends with them sending Absalom Dark to the Time War so he can kill all the Daleks he wants, which is such a like, it sounds nice on the face of it, but it's just...
We are the Daleks! I am Absalom Dark, Dalek Killer. The Daleks are the supreme rulers of the universe! I'm gonna kill every damn lousy Dalek in the galaxy. Exterminate! 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 Exterminate!
have a scene where they go to a planet. Again, they just go to another planet. And Alice, the companion, finds the Master's TARDIS
Yes.
there. And she goes inside and it's got this massive tumor on the console.
A chronal tumor. It looks like he's removed one of the segments of his TARDIS, like because a TARDIS is in 6 segments, and it's the classic Suave Master TARDIS.
Yeah, it's the white
White roundels and like the Third Doctor era where it's like a dish with like a light in it.
Yeah, and she goes inside and she's able to fly this TARDIS because of all these like modifications he's done to it.
Oh, plus she gets one of the insects from earlier.
Yes, that's right.
To sting the chronal tumor and oh my god.
Anyway, sciencey stuff happens, and she.
One thing I do appreciate from this story is the constant techno junk, techno babble.
Yeah, yeah. She calls him out a lot on that. Anyway, she flies it back into the Time War, and that is how we have these modern characters meet.
Yeah.
These characters that are inside the Time War.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of knock-on effects happen. That's how we get the genocide happening. But now the Master's TARDIS that can enter and leave the Time War bubble is inside the Time War. And the Master
immediately goes, "Well, I'm out."
Yeah, he decides to steal his own TARDIS. But he doesn't realize, he thinks that Alice did this to his TARDIS.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize that he did this to his TARDIS in relative to his future.
Yeah.
So he hasn't done it yet. So he gets in this TARDIS thinking that Alice has manipulated it and, cut it all open and done this surgery on it. And he tries to fly it out of the Time War to escape because, that's what he loves.
Yeah.
That's what the Master does best. He escapes danger when he needs to. So he's like, oh, cool. A TARDIS that can get out of the Time War, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And on his way out, suddenly the walls of reality start to break down and he creates a paradox. And he realizes that, he was the one who should have built this.
Yeah.
But now that he's leaving the Time War early, he never will build it. So it couldn't have existed to bring Alice to the Time War in the first place and then him escape on it. So it's a massive paradox and basically it just starts ripping things apart and he is shunted back into his War Master regeneration.
Yeah.
And his timeline is undone because
plot device.
Yeah, because we never want to use this character again.
Which, is stupid. Like, if you're going to create a new character, you could have stretched that. If you've gone to that much effort, you could keep doing it. Like, you could keep using that character.
Yeah, you've got a brand new Master regeneration that you've just introduced into the universe. Leave him. You can bring him back later. You can,
Even if there's a paradox. Like, for example, in the current Second Doctor adventures for Big Finish, which take place after the War Games. So it's the season 6B that everyone's always hoped for. And basically the Time Lords say at the start of that, they're like, you're going to do some work for us. You're a paradox. You've been taken out of time. You have regenerated already and you are living your life on Earth. But your regeneration, we're just going to keep this for a little while, hived off from time to do things for us.
Yeah.
And yet they could have done something like that.
They could have had the TARDIS, him do something and have the TARDIS rip itself apart and he survived, but he's got no TARDIS, so now he's stuck outside the Time War without a TARDIS. You can have any number of things happen to him.
They may have fallen foul of the BBC censors because everything has to go through them, like every storyline. To make sure it's not conflicting or ruining some things. Due to rights reasons, there is so much that can't be done with the Time War, even for Big Finish.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. It felt like they wanted to do something. They were only able to do a small amount of it. And so they just left it at that. And, honestly, guys, if you're not going to do the job properly, don't do the job at all. Yeah.
Again, I just repeat that I don't think this is worth it.
Yeah. We don't normally stray into review territory like this, but there's just very little to say about this story. We wanted to do it for completion, obviously, and it was very tantalizing for us, looking into, the Master and finding this other regeneration of the Master that, was comic only. But yeah, and as far as, it's funny, the Master's not in that many modern comics. Missy gets her own run.
Yes, Missy gets one run. And I do believe that the Missy run dips back into that Sontaran stuff.
Because why waste a good image?
Yeah, so we'll get there. I believe that she and Delgado might even share a scene in the comic regarding that whole situation. So obviously when we get there, we'll call back to this. But
And, I worry, and, listeners, feel free to allay my fears. I worry that with our reviewing and stuff that we're going to do a lot of Big Finish. Like when we're talking about the Master, we're going to do a lot of Big Finish purely because there is more Big Finish than anything else. And I hope people don't get tired of the Big Finish, but there is literally more Big Finish than there is anything. I think at this point, I looked at it the other day, insofar as an actor having played the role, I think at this point, in just sheer screen time, in inverted commas, like just mic time, I think Sir Derek Jacobi has played the Master longer than any other actor.
Oh,
I think he has done more, or he's definitely done more audio because he's done something like 8 series or something, plus a few other things.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to put him. No, he probably has done more than Anthony Ainley.
Yeah. Well, Anthony Ainley, if you think about it, only did about 6 TV stories.
Yeah.
That's
probably
and Roger
correct.
Delgado probably only did about 6 as well. Missy is probably coming in close, like quite close.
We'll do a timer. We'll put a timer on, or do the calculations.
Yeah, we should.
By the power of air, by the power of fire, eternal of the waters of the deep, I conjure thee and charge thee, Azal. Arise, arise at my command. Azal, Azal, Azal.
Another interesting thing about this. So they call the Silors gods, right? The War Doctor says, no, they're not. They're like technopabble beings. The Master's just like, they're gods. Like, this is another wonderful example of the Master accepting faith as a power and not just science, or, understanding that maybe it is a higher form of science. But the Master is always more ready to accept gods, monsters, other powers, faith, magic.
Yeah, if there's power to be had, he'll have it. Doesn't matter where it comes from.
Yeah. I like the idea that the Master is more open-minded than the Doctor.
Yes, right. But for his own purposes. When it suits him for what he needs. Whereas, but he wouldn't believe in the power of like love or things like that.
Well, yeah, no, this is true. But at the same time, the Doctor's just like, there's no such thing as magic. Magic is this, like
It's
explaining
science.
things.
Yeah.
And the Master's just like, no, there's magic. I used it yesterday.
Yeah, that is a really great point. I feel like we usually seem to connect threads between Masters from different properties about how the character reoccurs through. That's a good example of him reoccurring through. The other one is, which maybe this is, what did we learn?
Yeah.
That he knows how to cannibalize a TARDIS, and he will cannibalize a TARDIS for his purposes. Like, the Doctor has had one TARDIS. The Master, this like tissue paper.
Well, we look at, is this TARDIS, that was a question I was going to ask you, is this TARDIS that we see here Mark, that Missy then throws into...
No, I don't think so, because Missy's after this.
Yeah, I know, but Mark is her TARDIS from the Time War.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So is that Mark? Is that TARDIS Mark? It's become
good
sentient.
point. So I actually have had a plan recently where I want to do a TARDIS timeline. Master TARDIS timeline.
Oh my God. Do you have any idea? The work?
It's in my own time.
Okay, fine. You do it. I'll give you access to my Canva. You can.
Yeah, I want to try. But that's a good point because Missy did say that her TARDIS left her because she did horrific things in it. Yeah, and the TARDIS ran away because it didn't want to keep.
I mean, I know you don't want to fit this anywhere in your canon, but
also maybe not because the Master doesn't...
how quickly you change.
Yeah, I don't think because this Master doesn't use this TARDIS except to escape. I think I would headcanon this into the proper War Masters. Like Mark watching the proper War Master do what he does is more likely than this TARDIS for this child.
So you'll take me home?
I shall certainly send you on your way. All we need to do is activate that control on the console there. Would you do the honors?
This one?
Please. Yes, that's the one. Well done.
What did you think of the unsubtle and constant references of the Doctor being like the Master? And also kind of superficial.
Yeah, it just...
Again, they wanted to do so much. They wanted to do so much with this story, and they did not stick.
It's just
the landing.
redundant because the more you say it, the less it's true. Sure, the Master.
better people have covered the Doctor being manipulative to his companions. Russell T Davies in the Stolen Earth and Journey's End, like that showing how the Doctor changes his companions. That's how you do that.
Yes.
I mean, no one else is Russell T Davies, but Russell T Davies does it perfectly, and that is a great example of how the Doctor is damaging as a character.
Yes.
But
so I recently watched the Human Nature and the Family
of Blood.
episode.
Yep.
And the end of that, he's almost worse than the Master because the family wants to live forever. So he lets them by imprisoning them in places forever, for trapping them, for internally tormenting them. And you're like, the Master probably just would have killed him and been done with it. But the Doctor, he does worse than that. Like, you know, you don't need to say that the Doctor is as bad as the Master.
Spot the script based on a gritty 1990s novel.
So yeah, no, I don't think you need to like say, I think it's implied very heavily within many episodes and many audios that the Doctor has always been absolutely capable of being evil. He just chooses to stay away from those temptations.
Yeah.
He never raised his voice. That was the worst thing. The fury of the Time Lord. And then we discovered why. Why this Doctor, who had fought with gods and demons, why he'd run away from us and hidden. He was being kind.
So final thoughts. I like the idea of a youthful child Master.
Yeah.
In the War even is interesting.
And the War Doctor's relationship is very interesting. Like with the this war with exterminate, which don't even get me started on that. The exterminate written on the wall, and the War Doctor's like, "Was this you?" And the War Master's like, "No." The War Child's like, "No, it wasn't me.
I'm a good boy."
Yeah, that's a creepy line.
That's the point. Just even that one line where it's just like, I wish that if they were gonna do this, they just did more with it.
Yeah.
Really have a good idea, have a strong creative team looking at this and actually deciding what you want to do with it. Because it was kind of like, oh, what if the Master was a child and he was all psychotic? And you're like, okay, cool. No.
Yeah, workshop that a bit more.
Yeah.
It's not Master related, but I think I want to talk about the creepy Daleks. So in this story, there is this cult of Daleks that their entire thing is that they are individuals. Kind of like the Cult of Skaro, if the Cult of Skaro were into body horror. If the Cult of Skaro was written by Clive Barker, that's what's going. Yeah, or H.R. Geiger. I thought they were refreshing. I thought, like, how do you make the Daleks scary again? Make them basically not Daleks.
Make them Aperture Science robots.
Yeah, okay, look, one of them did look a bit like GLaDOS, I do remember. No, I thought they were good. I personally am going to be taking that entire first scene from the third graphic novel and just doing one of my dramatic readings.
Okay.
This is also going to be a weird episode because there's like if you've listened to this point, you would have heard something, but like I've got no audio to clip in. Like I've got to find something else to sort of punctuate what I say. Otherwise, it's just us and people will stop listening.
I wasn't a huge fan of these individual Daleks. Not because I'm like, no, Daleks are all the same. This is to me exactly what bad comics do to canon stories. We just start straying, I think, is the problem with some of these ideas. We're straying away from what the show and the intellectual property is.
Oh, I think a huge amount of what is in these comics is in there because they're fun to draw.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things of like, this is okay sci-fi, so you've just kind of slapped Doctor Who on it to sell it because you probably couldn't produce this as an original story or anything. To me, it didn't feel like it was Doctor Who at its core. It felt like a comic book that they had put Doctor Who into. Yeah.
As opposed to, we have to say there are good Doctor Who comics. Have you read Once Upon a Time Lord yet?
No. I've read some other Doctor Who comics. I remember I really loved one where 10 met Charlie Chaplin.
Yes, so that is the beginning of the second series of the IDW ones. Yeah, it's great. Although they did not have the rights to Charlie Chaplin.
No, they didn't.
So they had to call him Archie Maplin.
That's right. But yeah, I read some of those. So I have read some before and I've enjoyed them. And I think because they had the voice of the characters in them.
Yes.
This just doesn't. That's why it just doesn't feel like Doctor Who. And even, here's the thing, you can't recreate like the War Doctor's performance.
No.
Like you just can't capture him. And they don't. He's a cardboard cutout of the War Doctor.
I mean, the 11th Doctor is definitely worse, I think.
Yes.
Like, the War Doctor, at least, John Hurt's voice is very easy to grab onto and, like, just have him read the
Yeah.
lines in your head if you're an auditory thinker like I am. But, yeah, Matt Smith, I just couldn't get the voice.
And having, personally for myself, having read fan fiction, having been in role-playing servers with people who write for 11, I've seen amateurs nail this character's quirks and speech patterns.
Yeah.
So then to read an officially licensed, product and you go, this isn't even meeting the standards of just people I've met on the internet.
Did you hear that, Titan?
Yeah.
The way I see it, every life is a pile of good things and bad things. Hey, the good things don't always soften the bad things, but vice versa. The bad things don't necessarily spoil the good things or make them unimportant.
Titan does have great writers. I would have loved this if Jodie Hauser had written it.
I feel bad. I never want to be down on any Doctor Who properties apart from the story of Martha.
And it's one of those things. It's like I'm just a guy who likes stuff, and like
I'm just a guy who likes stuff.
Like all art is subjective, so
Yep.
you may enjoy it or not enjoy it. And sometimes I'm just like, well, why should anyone listen to me? And then I'm just like, I have consumed more Doctor Who than any other living person I actually know. So I feel like I'm coming from a certain level of like mavity. I have a certain mavity to it. I actually hate Mavity. I'm sorry. I hate it so much.
All right.
I'm sorry, Russell.
Mr. Isaac Newton, that you, above all others, can appreciate. You can appreciate.
Really don't.
Oh, come on. You can appreciate
The gravity of the situation.
Okay, Ciarán. Were you attending carefully?
I could not help but attend carefully.
All right. What odds does the Doctor put on the Master being the one who used the Malignant to kill the Silors, gods of the Overcast?
Like 98? No. What odds? Oh, sorry. I thought you said percentage. What was it? 4-1?
Close, 5-1.
Ah, so close.
What does Dark call the Master's TARDIS?
God, I have no idea. I really thought I was paying attention this time. Yeah, what did he call it?
Calls it a big Time Lord toilet.
Oh.
Listener, let that be an example of what's going on in this comic. That line got through. Right. What was attached to the console of the Master's TARDIS?
A chronal tumor.
Yes. What section of the library are Alice and the Master in? Hard mode. What books was the librarian holding?
Oh, there was Roald Dahl, Enid Blyton, Terry Pratchett. No, not Terry Pratchett. Lewis Carroll.
No, you got 3 more. Enid Blyton and Roald Dahl are correct.
Yeah. Nope, no idea.
Do you know what section of the library it was?
I'm assuming she's putting those away as children's section.
Fantasy.
Yeah.
But it's J.K., C.S. Lewis, Spike Milligan, Enid Blyton, Roald Dahl.
I remember seeing Spike Milligan and being like, that's a good choice. Anyway.
The Master is all for death and chaos, but only when...
It's fun.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's a good line.
Yeah, it is a good line.
That's it. You were attending partially carefully.
I
love all the notes that you must take for things you think are going to be in it, and then they change.
Yeah, so some of the things listed that, like, River knocks on the TARDIS, the Artronic Scapulator, the Vortinocene Bypass, and the Bakerfoil-looking thingy that goes ping.
Venting the thermo buffer. Roaring your homing regulator. And just to finish off, let's fry those siphon crystals.
Okay, so, Amber, what did we learn? Sorry.
The resigned sigh. What did we learn? Again, we learned that the Master will cannibalize a TARDIS when he needs to, for what he needs to. He's done it, and they've done it many times before, and will continue to do it. We've learned that when the Master and the Doctor do work together, it isn't exactly what you want. This was a case of, be careful what you wish for. I didn't like this dynamic too much between them.
It's about as in-depth as the dynamic between the Shulker Doctor and the Shulker Master.
Yeah.
Like the robot Master. We'll get there, guys. We'll get there.
He can, if he chooses to, regenerate into a child. Although we do kind of know that, we haven't gotten to it yet, but we know that the War Master, when he flees the war for good, goes back to a baby.
Yeah.
So they can regenerate down into childhood if they want to. It seems odd, but keep the adult personality. And it seems odd that we do get this continuous thing of like regenerating into older people where it's like, well, you could just be a child every time if you wanted to extend your life even further, it seems.
Well, yeah. And it depends how much like control people have over regeneration. So, for example, like the Master has shown, like when the War Master regenerated into the Saxon Master, he actively said, I want to be young and strong like the Doctor.
Yeah.
So he becomes someone in his 30s like the Doctor. This is my headcanon. I've always thought where the Doctor is concerned, his regenerations are sort of kind of obvious where he comes. Like, for example, regenerating someone older, like the 11th Doctor regenerating into the 12th Doctor. There's a real duality of old and young there. He trusts Clara, whether he's right to do that or not, I don't know. He trusts Clara, and so he regenerates into an older man, so he's showing who he really is while also being quite young and vulnerable and quite childish in the way he behaves. So I think there's a certain subconsciousness to that there. Like with a lot of things like this, you can make your headcanon do some great little acrobatics to explain anything.
Yeah. Like I would say as well, although they could, I guess, regenerate into a child if they wanted to, humans are then not going to, and many species in the universe are then not going to listen to a child.
Yes. Exactly.
So picking a face that suits, your means of gaining trust, gaining relationships, being protected, being listened to, that's a whole other thing to explore.
Yeah.
But
and like, did the Master become a child so that the Master was safer on a battlefield? If the last couple of months have taught us anything, it's just like even children aren't safe on a battlefield.
But it's weird to think, though, there are so many ideas as we've just even brushed the surface of theory.
Yeah.
You could delve so much deeper into that. The reason he's a child in this, so that the reader doesn't know who it is.
Yeah, basically, that's entirely it. So that it's a big shock.
Yeah. And it's quirky because he's a child, but still hyper violent. Yeah.
Yeah.
No kill count for this episode.
Didn't kill anyone.
Well, I mean, apart from, I guess, working with the Doctor with the malignant, but he's more
so we don't see it.
It's more manipulative than actually hands-on.
If anything, the Doctor's going around shooting people, and he's just sort of standing there. Like,
yeah. Yep. So no on-screen or implied death.
Like, I'm pretty sure you only see a gun in his hand once, and it's in the one panel.
And he never uses it, and we never see it again.
Cool. Well, that was the then and the now and the various others.
Don't be surprised if we never call back to this. It's probably not going to happen.
We might call back to it in the same context that we call back to the story of Martha. When we do other graphic novel stories, there is actually a Titan graphic novel third Doctor run. It's like a one-off.
Oh yes, I have seen the art for that. Yep.
That has the Suave Master. So
yes, I've seen the art.
Cool. That's all for this week's episode of Please Attend Carefully. Thank you so much for listening. We hope that with each episode you come to understand, appreciate, and maybe even obey the Master. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to be updated on new episodes. Amber, how can listeners get in contact with us?
They can email us at pleaseattendcarefully@gmail.com. Send us an ask on Tumblr at pleaseattendcarefully. Follow us on Instagram at pleaseattendcarefully. And you can find out more on our website at pzinner.com.au/shows/attend.
That's right. I've been Ciarán.
And I've been Amber. We leave you with a clue for the next episode.
We hope you'll be tuning in. After all, it can't hurt you to listen, can it?
Fingers on lips, missy.
Absalom Dark.